Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is June 3rd, 2021, and these are the top stories of the day. To kick things off, we received the following information from E3 this morning. Real talk. Everyone would love a complete schedule with every time listed on it, but announcing days, times is 100% the prerogative of the many partners participating in this year's show. So we'll keep updating you on here as they choose to reveal so you stay in the loop. Cool? And here we have a look. Saturday, June 12th, the broadcast pre-show starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time. E3 2021 will then kick off with press conferences from Ubisoft and Gearbox Entertainment, as well as a session with GamesBeat. On Sunday, June 13th, the broadcasting pre-show will begin at 8:45. Then we'll have Microsoft's long-awaited Xbox and Bethesda games showcase, which will take place at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Fans can also look forward to special presentations from Square Enix, the PC Gaming Show, and the Future Games Show. Warner Brothers games and Back 4 Blood and 24 Entertainment will also be featured. On Monday, June 14th, the broadcast pre-show starts at 8 a.m. Pacific. Alongside press conferences from several indie developers, presentations from Take-Two Interactive, Mythical Games, Freedom Games, Razer, and Capcom will take place throughout the day. Verizon and Intellivision will also be featured, along with a session with Ven. Tuesday, June 15th, broadcast pre-show starts at 8 a.m. Pacific. The last day of E3 will include Nintendo's Nintendo Direct and Nintendo Treehouse live programming starting at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bandai Namco, Eureka Games, and GameSpot will also have focused events. The broadcast will round out with the official E3 2021 awards show. So this is exciting. It's nice to see a little look as to what to expect on what day from what developer. I'm looking forward to all of E3. If I had to pick one that I'm most hyped for, it is Nintendo's. You know, we have the potential of seeing the Nintendo Switch Plus, or whatever it's going to be called, dropped sometime between tonight and June 11th, potentially. It might not happen, but here's hoping, right? And of course, we've got probably a look at The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's successor. That's by far my most hyped game of the show. But we also have Halo Infinite to look forward to, updates potentially to Monster Hunter Rise, maybe that Resident Evil rumored game coming out in 2022, I should say, supposedly, for Nintendo Switch. Take-Two and their content. We've got Amico from Intellivision and Tommy Tallarico heading that. So that should be cool. Bandai Namco, Warner Brothers games, see some Batman content. There's a lot to look forward to, and I'm pretty happy. Tell me what you're looking forward to most at E3. Okay? Moving on. PlayStation had the following to announce today. Santa Monica Studio. Since the release of the next God of War teaser last year, we've been humbled by the amount of love our community has shown us. We're incredibly grateful to see so many people excited to experience the next chapter of Kratos and Atreus' journey. We remain focused on delivering a top quality game while maintaining the safety and well-being of our team, creative partners, and families. With this in mind, we've made the decision to shift our release window to 2022. Thank you all for your continued support. We've got some exciting things in the works that we can't wait to show you. Santa Monica Studio. I have no problem with this game being delayed. Ragnorak, presumably the title, because God of War 2018 was a fantastic title. So one of the best games from the PlayStation 4 and one of the best games of that 8th generation of gaming. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they could pull off on much more powerful hardware with the PlayStation 5. So take your time, don't rush it, release it in 2022. It will be interesting, though, to see when it comes out, because I have a kind of a thought in mind. If God of War Ragnarok ends up being like an October, November release, was it ever really seriously planned to come out in 2021? Or back in summer of 2020, when PlayStation said coming 2021, God of War, new title in the franchise, was it just to make people excited for PS5 that, holy cow, in its first year, it's going to have a God of War game? You know what I mean? not to speculate, it could really truly have been in their minds of releasing it in 2021, and it slips it by a couple of months and comes out March or May 2022. Okay, but if it's an October, November release, was it one, ever really going to be 2021? Or was it always planned for 2022? They just wanted to build up hype. Then again, even if it's like delayed by a year, you obviously saw that Halo Infinite was delayed by a year too. So I wouldn't dismiss the fact that it very well could possibly be a November 2022 title, but by all means, they had the full intention of originally releasing it by 2021 fall. We've got the pandemic. We've got a lot of people working from home. It's not as easy for video game developers to get things done in the same manner as they were previously pre-pandemic. So regardless, perhaps some unnecessary speculation, but it does make me curious a little bit. But I am all for, personally, this game being delayed because I don't want it to be rushed, and with this pandemic time, you wouldn't want to put further stress on developers from home when you could just delay the game, take your time, more so now than usual, to make this an amazing title when it does come out. Okay, and speaking of God of War, it has been announced that the game is going to be a dual release on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. It's kind of interesting because Sony originally came out there and said they believe in a clear generation shift, right? You've got games PS4, PS5 comes out, there's a little crossover, but PS5 is going to be its own system with own software built from the ground up for it. Obviously, we got Miles Morales that came out on both, but now we're getting Horizon Forbidden West on both, God of War 4 on both, and one other game on both, Gran Turismo 7. So, really, the big exclusive on PS5, in my mind, I know some people already are a really big fan of Returnal, and Returnal is a good game, but the big exclusive, from my perspective so far, has been Ratchet & Clank, which is still a few days out, but that will be 2021's big PlayStation 5 exclusive title. Astrobot was an awesome PS5 exclusive at launch, so that too showed a lot of what the PS5 could do. It wasn't an overly ambitious giant game, but it did a really good job of showing what type of visuals the PS5 can produce very early on, and just the awesome sensation that the DualSense controller truly gave. But then now you're looking at, okay, not just the launch title of like Spider-Man, but games that are going into later 2021, Forbidden West, and then 2022 titles like God of War, running on both systems. From a business point of view, and I've said this before, it makes sense. You want to capitalize on 110 million PlayStation 4 owners that will be in such strong numbers supporting probably a sequel to some of their favorite games, right? Horizon Forbidden West is going to sell to a lot of PS4 owners. The God of War Ragnorak game is going to sell to a lot of PS4 owners. For one, not everyone is ready, willing, have the money to jump over onto a PlayStation 5. Number two, even if they wanted to, Sony can't get out enough PlayStation 5s right now. The system is in very high demand. The stock is low. Sony is only going to be able to pump out 15.2, maybe 16 million in their next fiscal year. So if you released a God of War, a Horizon, a Gran Turismo 7 exclusively on PS5, even if you sell to a high percentage of PS5 owners, you're only selling to a family of 22 million PS5 owners instead of to a family of 115 million PS4 owners. Now, it is true, unless if a game is made in complete separate teams or the same team but completely different SKUs, not sharing assets and whatnot, or sharing things like story and voice acting and musical score and stuff like that, but totally different engines to take advantage of both systems' power. The games are made as one and then scalable. God of War on PS4 is going to be able to output like this, and on PS4 Pro it'll be scalable to this. On PS5 the same game will be able to scalable like this, right? Better graphics, better textures, greater draw distance, higher resolution, better frame rate, higher fidelity, 4K, ray tracing, and so forth, right? But by the game having to work on the lowest common denominator, which is in this case the PlayStation 4, it does limit the overall size and scope of the developer of what they could do had they just developed solely for the PlayStation 5. Now, looking at the Horizon Forbidden West trailer, nobody's really complaining about, oh, this game is also coming out on PS4. That stinks. It just doesn't look good anymore. No, you'd be lying to yourself. Could it have looked better? Yes. The principle of the matter is it could have looked better. It probably could have been bigger and even more bold had it only been developed for PS5. But after seeing it, no one's really complaining that it doesn't look good or it's being held back. It doesn't look as good, and it is held back from what it could have been, but that's just, a part of your mind making you disappointed and realizing, it could have been more. But the truth is, the reality is, looking at it, there are no complaints, really. The foliage is great. The amount of terrain you can explore is awesome. The animations, the level of work and the textures, the lighting, the shadows, the particle effects going off. It's some pretty sweet stuff. Now, it'll be interesting to see, going back, what's the PS4 version look like? What's the difference between PS4, PS4 Pro, and PlayStation 5, right? And especially with Gran Turismo 7 and the next God of War game, as they come out later in PlayStation 5's life, with God of War specifically, 2022, that title's going to be even past Horizon Forbidden West in terms of overall fidelity, I'm pretty confident in. So, will it be held back a little bit from its max potential? Yes. But when people see it and are playing it, are they going to be blown away? Also, yes. However, the longer Sony keeps this up, the longer it's going to take in the PlayStation 5 generation to truly see what can be tapped out. We see Insomniac Games tapping out right now Ratchet and Clank. But even that's not fully tapping out the PS5 hardware because it's still early in the lifetime. Let me see Insomniac Games 3 years from now with another Ratchet and Clank. Let me see Insomniac 2-3 years from now with a Spider-Man game that's built just for PS5. That's when we're going to see some really awesome titles that truly shine on PlayStation 5. So yeah, unless if a developer's like, okay, now we're going to make a PS4 version and a PS5 version, but make them independently of one another so that it's not one SKU that is just, being upped or downed accordingly, which is probably not going to happen. You're going to get a scalable version, and it's just going to look better and run better on PS5, but I'm sure it's still going to be awesome. And to that extent, probably the PS4 version is going to look great too. I mean, is anybody complaining about God of War? No. I mean, you could release God of War Ragnarok on the PS4 right now with the same graphics, and I don't think anybody would complain. Here you are playing in the year 2021, a full 3 years after God of War, and if God of War Ragnarok came out right now this year on PS4 with those same visuals, maybe a tiny bit better, right? Let's say a tiny bit more they were able to squeeze out of the system. No one would complain. It's still a gorgeous game, right? By today's standards. It's only been 3 years. It looked great then. It still looks great now. So I don't think anyone's really got to complain or worry that these games aren't going to be maxed out. Yes, I am kind of disappointed because I want to see them maxed out. But will I be disappointed when I see them and play them in person? No, I highly doubt that. And finally today for video game news, we got the Famitsu Sales from week 22 of 2021. This is from May 24th to May 30th. Thank you to Chris1964 from the ResetEra.com forums for putting this list nicely together. To kick things off, number 1, Miitopia with 34,000. Number 2, a new entry, Biomutant on PlayStation 4 with 24,000. Monster Hunter Rise for Nintendo Switch at number 3 with 23,000. Ring Fit Adventure at number 4 with 14,000. And number 5, Rune Factory 5 on Nintendo Switch with 12,000. A massive 87% drop on that one. That's kind of tough. Minecraft at number 6, the Nintendo Switch version at 11,000. And number 7 is Resident Evil Village on PlayStation 4. Still hanging in there, doing really well with 10,000. And number 8 is Momotaro Dentetsu with 10,000. Number 9 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with 8,000. And at the number 10 spot is Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury with 8,000. It's a smaller week when it comes to the best-selling game being 34,000 and the number 10 selling game at 8,000. No Juggernaut this week. You also don't see a new Pokemon Snap in here. And overall, you've got some decent mixture of new titles and some Nintendo Evergreens, a split of 8-2 Nintendo Switch to PS4. Not bad. And on the hardware side, most things are down. Nintendo Switch, 71,000 this week compared to 99,000 last week. Compared to 107,000 last year, there's obviously a 36,000 dip, which we don't see too often in the 2021 versus 2020 sales charts. Most of the time, Nintendo Switch is outpacing its previous year. But its lifetime to date now, recognized by Famitsu, is at 20,018,278. So congratulations, Nintendo, on being the 5th system ever in Japan to pass 20 million. PS5 jumped way up this week to 39,000, over its 16,000 from last year. PS4 at 2,562, also up over last week's 1,298. Xbox Series brand to 547, down from 1,100 last week. 3DS at 425, and just a little bit up from last week's 376. So you actually have 3 systems that went up and 3 systems that went down. And is that correct? 3DS up, PS4 up, PS5 up, Nintendo Switch down, Xbox Series down. Did I say that incorrectly? Let's see. Let's look one more time. Nintendo Switch down, PS5 up, PS4 up, Xbox Series S down, 3DS up. I guess it's a 3 and 2 split. 3 up, 2 down. But overall, nothing too blockbuster crazy going on in sales. It will be interesting to see after E3 how much more hype do gamers in Japan and around the world have for all of these systems, especially if a Nintendo Switch Plus comes out, which rumor has it tonight's the night. If it doesn't happen, people always say, well, there's always next week. But come on, after a while, when is it going to be released? If it doesn't come out, shown, that is, before E3, I truly think Nintendo's like, no, we had no intention of showing it off yet. We have this thing planned to come out in October or September or November. We're showing it off 5 weeks before. Yeah, some of you found out ahead of time. Some of you are kind of making it a little bit of a headache for us, but we're not, deviating from our plan. We're not showing this thing off 3 months in advance and having to drop the price of the current model in the meantime and this and this. No, we're sticking to our original plan. You guys all speculate all you want. We're showing this thing off September 30th and it's coming out November 5th. You know what I mean? Something like that. If it's not shown off between tonight and the end of E3. So let me know what you thought of today's episode of the Video Game News with Paul Gale Network. Thank you for watching with me. I hope you all have a great one. And if that Nintendo Switch Plus, Nintendo Switch Pro news drops tonight, you better believe it. I will be back on with a live reaction video and share it with you. Okay, thanks for watching. Thank you for your time. Take it easy, everybody. See you next time. Bye.